Welcome back to the Server24 Cloud Quickstart Guide. What you see here is the cloud management dashboard, and I've also prepared just on Notepad the access codes and the stuff I'm going to be using. As described, those are the access codes taken from Server24. We're going to just use a demo username and password, and I'll just show you how to log in. So you take your access codes, in this case you take your username, just input it here in usernames, and take your password, enter it here, and you take your domain name, enter it here. As described before, this is the management dashboard, so the URL you're going to use for this is https://cloudcontrol.serverclient.com/client. You're going to use this to manage all aspects of our cloud. After inputting necessary data, I click on log on, and now I get to see the cloud dashboard. Here on this start screen you can see your running VMs, your stopped VMs, and your total VMs. As this is a new account, nothing has been configured so far, so we'll just start creating an instance. For this we click on instance here and on add instance here, and I see the setup screen, so we're going to select a zone for our cloud, and at this time only the advanced cloud is of interest for us. And here we can select if we want to use a template or create the virtual machine from a template or from an ISO file. This comes in very handy if you have an ISO, let's say of Windows 2008, R2, and MS SQL Server and so on, and you want to create your own private and customized templates. You can do that by simply uploading an ISO image. But for this quick start guide, we'll stick to the template and just click on next. And here we see there's a featured image, CentOS 5.6. There are the community images, and here we're going to use the CentOS 6.3 latest image for Xen. As you can see, our cloud is based on the very popular Xen cloud stack. And without further ado, now we can click on next, and here it asks us to choose the compute offering. Here you can say I want to have an instance with 1 core or 2 cores or 4 cores and so on. For this quick start guide, we'll just select the 1 core instance and click on next. Here it asks for data disk offering, so basically you can add also later on you can add data disks to your cloud instance. You can use those data images to store additional data and expand your system. Well, we're going to use a small disk in this case, and click on next. Here we have our network. It's important to note all networks on the Server24 cloud are isolated networks. That means every customer gets his very own VLAN and is completely isolated from other customers, whereas all virtual machines you create in the same default network, see each other. And also, as we'll see in the more advanced usage cases, you can create VPN access to your network, so that from your workstation or your office you have full access to your isolated network from remote. So this is a very secure way of configuring and managing a system. We're going to stick with the default network and click on next. On this page here we can review everything. We can give this cloud instance, our first cloud server, we can give it a name, so let's call it test1, and we can group it, let's call it test group. So we have inputted name and group, and here you can see you could edit any of the previous choices we've made, and in this case we're sure we have done everything correctly, so we just click on launch VM to get the provisioning started. Now as you can see, it shows that the VM is grayed out at the moment. It shows creating, and here the Ajax cursor is pulsing. That means the system is working. Now I'll just pause this video until the cloud is provisioned. This normally takes from a few seconds to a few minutes. So our cloud has been provisioned, and from the cloud control panel, from the cloud management dashboard, you see the password for the new virtual machine test1 is, so the password has been provisioned. I'm just going to open up my notepad and add in the password I'm just seeing, so it's BF7IBDIYJ. So after this has been done, I return here and click OK, and as you can see, display name is test1, zone name advanced cloud, state running. That means this virtual machine, your cloud server, is up and running. Here in the action tab, you can see that by clicking on this button you can stop the instance. By clicking here you can reboot the instance, and by clicking here you can destroy. That means cancel the instance completely. Now this server is now up and running, but we still have to configure the network to get it connected to the internet. I click on network, and here I see my default network, type isolated, the VLAN and the CIDR, so that's our network. In case you're going to access this network using VPN, you can see the CIDR here. I click on default network. Here you can see some of the features and the information being displayed about this network. I can also, by clicking on edit, I can also change the name and the description. But what is more important and of interest for us now is the view IP addresses button, and here you can see this IP address is with source.net behind it, near it, on the right side of it, is the IP address of your router object. So basically every network you create gets one fixed IP. That's your router IP and your service IP. From there you can configure port forwardings, load balancing, and so on. But for the basic setup we plan to use for this quick startup guide, we just click on acquire new IP and confirm. And as always, you can see here the cursor, the Ajax cursor blinking. It means the system is working. It has allocated this new IP for us. We just click on it, and here we see the details of the IP. What's most important is here, by clicking here, you can enable a VPN connection. This will be part of a more advanced class later on. By clicking here, you can release the IP, so cancel it, so the resource is freed. And in this button here, enable static net. Static net is one-to-one net, so every port gets mapped one-to-one to our private network. That means every port on the public IP gets mapped one-to-one on our cloud server. This is exactly what we want, and I click on enable static. Here it shows me the selection. At the moment we just have this one test1 server, and I'll click on it and select it and click on apply. Now the system is working, and it will show me it will ask me to refresh actually the configuration once it has completed the configuration step. I'll click on yes. So here we go. Here is our one-to-one net with VM test1 associated. I'll click on the IP again and go to the configuration register here, and I can see static net enabled VM test1. I can see here is the internet, and here is the firewall, and this actually is our virtual machine. Now we just have to configure the firewall so that we can get access to our server. Click on view all, and here I have to input the source CIDR. As we want to have access from everywhere, I just input 0.0.0.0/0 protocol TCP, start point 1, endpoint 65,535, and I'll click on add rule. As you can see, the system is already adding the firewall rule, and it's quite interactive, so that means I can continue inputting new firewall rules. Again, source 0/0 and protocol UDP this time, start point 1 again, endpoint 65535, that's the highest port available. I click on add rule again, and last but not least, as we want to have ICMP for testing purposes, in this case I just use -1 and -1 so that all ICMP packets can pass. I'll click on add again, and as you can see, the rules are being provisioned, and actually our one-to-one net is configured. So I just using the IP address. As you can see, firewall rule has been applied. I'll go back to my settings and see here, this is the IP address I can access my server on. And what I'm going to do now is I'll open an SSH session.